The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club at a Thursday night like no other for you, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you along for the ride. Night 4 of week 1 of term 2 of 2026. And we welcome you to the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez, one of the newest circuits on the server in the iRacing universe, and to an out-and-out double header from the same venue. We're running the Formula E configuration for the return of Disruptive Labs Formula V, and then getting stuck into what will be a magnificent opening round on the Grand Prix layout for the Porsche Cup. Good evening, everybody. Zach Caven alongside Matt Schmidtke. It's about to get a hell of a lot louder than this, let me tell you. The clock is frozen at 11:28 a.m. local server time, 3 kilometre an hour winds, and they are in a northerly direction, 26 degrees. The ambient 55 on track, bloody hell. Partly cloudy conditions, however, and so far it is dry. The return of Formula V to the platforms of the GSRC. Cars are lining up on the grid for heat number 1. This circuit, 2.55 kilometres for those of you playing along at home. Lockie Purvis back on the grid. Chris Noble alongside him, Braden Sagassa and Ryan Tate from the second row. So all of our usual regular protagonists in Formula V, front and centre. You couldn't ask for more. Adam Lavis, Derek Fitzgerald from 3. Mick Wood and Sam Chapman from 4. Richard King and Todd Saris from 5. From 6, Ryan Jones and Cooper Friend from 7. Thorne Wiggett and Eduardo Zamora from 8. Michael Adams and Edward Rollo from 9. Greg Padgett and Tom Pritchard from 10. Will Ramsden. Although it looks only like we're going to have 16 lining up on the grid here at this point. Still waiting for Adams, Padgett, Pritchard and Ramsden to join the grid. Matt Schmidtke's back in the producer's chair. Good evening to you, mate. Here we go again. Great to have you back.
Good evening. Thank you. It's good to be back. I started off a little bit easy with just the V's for me to start off, but maybe I'll come back for some more at a later date.
And it's important to note as we say that there will be a channel change of sorts after this race, ladies and gentlemen, and there will be a driver swap where there will be a baton change. Schmidtke out, Neil in for the Porsches. Ready to go. First to 3 for the night. Lights out, away we go in Mexico. They're slow away off the line. That's typical Formula V though. Once they get up to speed, it's going to be well worth the price of admission. Great start off the line from Chris Noble. No real surprise there. Lockie Purvis has slotted into second spot behind him, and then Braden Sagassa. Remember, this is the Formula E layout of the circuit, so it's a little bit tight and technical in some parts, but it is very open and free-flowing in others, particularly this back section of the circuit, these sweeping left and right corners. But then you get down to the stadium section, and the stadium section is a complete another nightmare compared to what you see in Formula 1 and even NASCAR. Have a look at this. The multi-apex left-hander. Whoa! Smack of the wall by Lockie Purvis. That doesn't appear to have done too much damage to the car, but they go out and around another left-handed hairpin corner, then back to the right, and then they rejoin almost at the point at which they entered that section of the circuit around the right-hander. So instead of rejoining, I think where Formula 1 comes back onto the circuit's about there. There it is, there's the rejoin line. You take the full right-hander around what used to be the parabolica there in NASCAR, in IndyCar, and in Formula 1 in the early 90s, and then you rejoin on the main straight. So it's a lot slower, tighter and technical than you'd probably like with Formula V, but it should offer up some good racing nevertheless. Chris Noble leads at the end of the opening lap. Purvis, Sagassa, Lavis, Chapman and Fitzgerald the top 5. Trouble at the back. Richard King's driven away from that. Ryan Jones not so lucky. Jonesy's dropped 4 spots, so too Cooper Friend. Greg Padgett, the last of the runners at the moment. No Tom Pritchard or Will Ramsden. And we are up and away in Mexico City. So a lot of this circuit, if you've watched Formula E, you'd be familiar to it. And I just saw a comment there. I didn't realise we had a Formula E circuit on iRacing. We do, because they've run Formula E races here in the past, and they were even there in January. So when they've scanned the circuit, they've been able to incorporate all the configurations of it, including Formula E. So if we ever go to Shanghai in China, or Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. If either of those two circuits come to iRacing, there is a Formula E configuration within those. And there are a couple of others as well, but they're not yet available readily on iRacing. So the MIA loop at Miami International Autodrome, we've mentioned that a few times. You've seen the legend cars there. That is the Formula E configuration on that particular circuit as well. So yes, we don't have Formula E style racing just yet here. Hang on, what's going on here, please? Ryan Tate to pit lane. That's not normal.
Yeah, not sure what's going on. Oh, he's just popped up.
He's got a mechanical.
Yeah, with a meatball. Interesting. It wasn't showing until he hit the pit line.
And Eduardo Zamora's got a black flag as well, so he's got a drive-through penalty.
I believe he jumped the start. Because he picked it up, or he got it very, very soon after the start, because I did notice that.
Copy that. So, yes, as you can see there, Ryan Tate stop and go. Pretty much 1.10 seconds there. And Eduardo Zamora still driving through to pit exit at the moment as part of his drive-through penalty. He now rejoins the race at the back of the field. He's down in 7.8. So, what's interesting about this, Schmitty, no comment on that, Steve. No comment. It depends on the class. If you get the right class and car configuration combination together, you can get a good show on that circuit. In fact, we saw that with the legend cars around the MIA loop. Round onto the main straight. Another lap in the books. That's the end of 3. We're running around at about 1.5 minutes. So what's that going to give us? 7 laps for this opening heat. So 10 minutes for the opening heat. 15 for heat 2 and 3. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The same formula as we had last time, I should say. It's been far too long between drinks as far as I'm concerned, as far as Formula V and the GSRC are concerned. We haven't had enough Formula V for the sake of it. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But it's great to have them back. 3-race format. Invert top 10 for race 2, invert top 15 for race 3. So that'll be basically a full invert by the time we whittle out a couple of would-be contenders in the next race or so. Challenging start for these guys, Schmitty. There's no doubt about that. I'm just disappointed that a few more didn't come to the party. I would have thought the return of Formula V, they would have been here in swarms, like bees to the honeypot, but unfortunately not to be.
Yeah, unfortunately not too many, though the 16 starters, that's pretty decent. I feel like this track might just have scared a few people away, but we'll see how we go next week with a more well-known popular track, at least on the iRacing platform. I know Formula 1 races here, so it is well-known, but not so much raced on in iRacing currently because it's so new.
Yeah, and also there are a few people that have taken a bit of time to warm to it. I mean, the racing was great when we saw GT3 and Supercars and a few others here last term. But, yeah, there's still a few people just giving it the brush off at the moment. Hopefully, a good display of entertainment here tonight in both the Porsches and the Vs will entice a few more people to fork out some coin to go racing here. Oh, geez, that was wide through turn 1 for Braden Sagassa, but he got away with it to go racing at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez. So I love that this is one of those tracks where there's so much real estate they've used that they've actually gone and configured racetracks within a racetrack. It's very karting-esque. We see that with kart tracks right around Australia. They have 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 different configurations at their disposal, and bi-directional too. We don't have the bi-directional down packed here, but we do certainly have many different configurations in which to run around or choose to run on in iRacing parlance. 2 laps to go at the line. It'll be a 7-lap opening heat. That makes it easy because the maths will line it up that it'll be about 10 laps for races 2 and 3. Braden Sagassa gives Chris Noble a hurry up. Lockie Purvis has gone with them. This is a race in 3 at the front. Adam Lavis well back, then Derek Fitzgerald and Sam Chapman. Chapo did send us a message before we got underway, Schmitty. He said, send thoughts and prayers. Send hope, thoughts and prayers. He said, this is not the Mexico City I know, because he didn't read the memo that it is the EV circuit. So that will serve Chapo right for not reading the paperwork before he turns up, you know, 5 minutes before the server goes into qualifying trip. We've just been white flagged. So somebody's put a lap count on this, and I'm not sure who. But we're going to go 1 lap short of the time distance.
What? Noble.
Oh, Chris Noble scrapes the wall. He goes back to second. Braden Sagasa to the lead. And now with a chance to get the first win of the season in Disruptive Labs Formula V. Through the back section we go. Why the hell are we going 1 lap short? I didn't get that memo. Through into the stadium section. The final time I was building up towards the last lap thriller. It got the better of me. It caught up to me far too quickly.
Yeah, I did not realise there was lap set either.
Somebody didn't send us that memo. That's all right. We'll deal with it later. Half a minute to go. They're not going to require that last minute of play. Through in the stadium section for the final time. Braden Sagasa may have just done enough by virtue of that mistake from Chris Noble to hold on here. Round we go. The run to the line. Sagasa, Noble. What can he do with the slipstream? Round under the main straight. Will it be 1-9 or Alpha to get the job done to start the season in Disruptive Labs Formula V? Round under the main straight. Here comes Noble. Late lunch, too late. Braden Sagasa. First cab off the rank. Victorious in race 1 in Disruptive Labs Formula V. Very nicely done. Noble second, Purvis third, then Lavis, Fitzgerald and Chapman, the top 6. Then we got back to Nick Wood, Ryan Jones, Todd Saris, and Michael Adams will have the invert pole. Thorn Weggett, Ryan Tate, Richard King, Eduardo Zamora, Edward Rollo, Greg Padgett, Cooper Friend. That rounds out your field.
Oh, come on. Oh, I was hoping to look at that replay from the start of Ryan Jones going spinning, but doesn't seem to want to load it up.
If you can get us that fan shot, that panoramic shot of the stadium section again, Shreddy, that'd be great. Here's Jones's incident.
Or just a bit wide into the wall there.
Too greedy with the grass, and the wall was there waiting for him. Yeah. Cost him a few spots as well. So that was not in the script, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay. I hazard a guess then that the next 2 races are going to run 9 laps, not 10. But we'll find out together in just a moment. Now, there's the stadium section. Now, that looks very different to what it would when you watch the Mexican Formula 1 Grand Prix at the same venue, ladies and gentlemen, and that's because of those details that I divulged a few moments ago. When you look through that stadium section, there's a lot more to it than what there is in Formula 1. In Formula 1, 90-degree corner, 180-degree hairpin, 90-degree corner, quick switch back left, and out. They take a different exit. They take a different route. I don't know how much work is involved in laying down the AstroTurf, the runoff area, and putting the right bitumen in place for Formula E compared to Formula 1, but at least they've usually got 2 months between F1 and Formula E in order to do that. Right, here we go, second race, just like that. 11:53 local server time. Northerly winds 3 kilometres an hour, partly cloudy conditions, 45% humidity. That track temperature is ridiculous. It's off the chart at 58 degrees. Server set to May 15, 2026. Adams and Saras front row. Jonesy alongside Nick Wood on the second row. Jonesy hoping to go a little bit better, have a bit of a cleaner run than what he did earlier in the piece. Lights out, away we go. Racing again on the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez. Round 1, race 2. Disruptive Labs Formula V. We're safely through the first corner, except at the back. I think there was someone running wide at the back. Greg Padgett and Edward Rollo end up losing a spot in all of that, so too does Thorn Weggett, but everybody else is away cleanly. Oh. Okay. Are you noticing what I'm noticing there, Shreddy?
No.
It says lap 1 of 18.
Oh, it does say lap 1 of 18.
This is not going to be a 27-minute race.
No, we still have 15 minutes.
Yeah, so it's only going to be 10. um, okay, I don't know who did the numbers tonight, but we might have a conversation after the broadcast. That's funny. That is actually amusing. I'm not for losing track time, but that is amusing. That we've bitten off more than we can chew here, and we haven't chewed off enough in race one. However, off at the back goes Richard King in 17th position. Round we go, main straight. Michael Adams, Ryan Jones, Sam Chapman, Nick Wood down the inside of Todd Saras. That's live on screen at the moment. Nick Wood down on the inside. He goes to 4th place. Now the dragging begins, the dueling, the dicing, the drafting. The slicing and dicing, the battling. Oh, wide goes Lachlan Purvis, and there's a big crunch on the right-hand side. Adam Davis is involved. So too is Nick Wood. So too is Todd Saras. A big shunt at turn 1. 3 wide to the corner, and that wasn't what caused it. Oh no!
Wow, they just went way too deep and into the tyres.
Nick Wood up and over, and the collateral as he's bounced back onto the racetrack was Saras and Lavis. Lavis trying to limp it home. Saras and Wood. Josh, good evening to you. Well, at least the other one isn't on a Thursday night. Oh no, round. Ryan Tate. I think it might have been.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. There was somebody around there. I didn't quite get the red show.
VB livery, I think it was.
We need to find who the VB livery. Oh, there it is behind. So about 6th, 7th, 8th. Michael Adams. Yeah. Red Joe, Michael Adams.
Yes, there he is. Michael Adams.
Second time lucky. Still familiarising ourselves with the new liveries and the new term. And also a new season of Formula V. Zuno, thankfully that tripe that you were talking about before you mentioned GSRC and Zach in the same sentence, I won't refer to it by name because I wouldn't do that to my IQ level, let alone anything else. That is over for another year. Thank Christ. We only now have to wait until January and the return of the Australian Open for a dead set pollution or saturation of pollution when it comes to the promotion of the new season, incorporated in all the ad breaks of the tennis from Melbourne Park. Anyway, back to the racing. How good was Australian Idol, though, on that night? It ended on Tuesday night as well. An absolute belter of a finale, and Amy Shark tearing it to shreds with a new single. Don't forget her new single. So that one that was performed on Australian Idol the other night was the latest. It's about to be replaced. The new single dropping from Amy Shark ahead of the launch of the new album. It drops at midnight Eastern time tonight. So if you're planning on burning the candle at both ends and burning the midnight oil, you'll be able to go to Amy Shark's YouTube channel and enjoy that. Round we go onto the main straight. Another up in the books. Sagassa in third. Chapman is second. Jonesy the leader. So Jonesy has Chapman for company. Sagassa the fastest lap of the race, 129.958. Noble, Tate, Fitzgerald, Purvis, Friend. That Nick Wood incident, that's the best one of the term so far. I feel sorry for Adam Lavis and Edward Rollo, the boys that are collateral in all of that. Lavis had to come to pit lane. It's saying that he's a lap down. Interesting. Jeff, yes, thank you. They're throwing all the bait in my general direction tonight. Have a look at the comments section. How good is this? No, I was only talking to someone about the benefits of daylight saving and the fact that on Easter Sunday up home we're actually not saying Happy Easter to everyone as opposed to saying Happy New Year. It was lovely. No more slow, sloppy, lagging 1 hour delay. It was beautiful. 5.5 minutes gone. We're on lap 4. I know that rolls up our Queensland audience as well. There are some of them that don't understand why I'm so vocal about it. Well, again, if you like finding things out after everybody else, move to Queensland. At least the GSRC coverage is live. A lot of people happy about the fact that we are back live on a Thursday night this term. Not least me, of course, because it means I can plan my Fridays a little bit better. Colin Wiggett's picked up a slowdown. He'll have to serve that. Everybody else is clean for the moment. We've got a 2-minute warm-up session between Heat 2 and 3 in which to advise you of the schedule for this term, ladies and gentlemen. Todd Saris, Nick Wood have both got back out onto the racetrack. Edward Rollo, however, is still on pit road after 2.5 minutes. Have a look at this. Derek Fitzgerald, the meat and the sandwich there. He's got Lockie Purpose ahead of him. He's got Cooper Friend behind him. Jones, Chapman and Sagassa, along with Chris Noble, arguing over the lead of this race at the moment. You're getting an indication, I'm hoping, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to where... Oh, Richard King's on the tow rope. That's unfortunate. With regards to where the circuit joins up with the Grand Prix configuration and, of course, where it parts company with. That chicane, of course, is there for Formula V only. It's usually the Formula 1 back straight. Now into the stadium section. The double apex left. And then the third left. Then they get a right-hander. The second right-hander is the King. Then the third takes them back out onto the parabolic up. Round onto the main straight. We're too wide there momentarily. I'm not sure this straight's long enough for us to get 3 wide. I don't think they've got enough time to get to turn 1. And as we've already seen, you don't really want to be going through there any more than 2 wide if you can help it. Half race distance. 5 gone, 5 to go. Oh.
Yeah, I was worried
this is a battle for the lead.
Yes, this race they were getting a bit strung out, but a couple of laps ago they were just slowly reeling each other in, and now we've got a massive 4, almost soon to be 5-pack racing for the lead.
For those of you that aren't aware, I've been down in Cessnock for the last week and a half, with a weekend in Bega in between. But I will be back in what I affectionately refer to as the slow and steady state from Sunday morning, ready for week 2 and beyond as far as this term is concerned. So I look forward to your company then. Eduardo Zamora's picked himself up a mechanical meatball flag, so too Richard King. So Zamora's charge is about to come to a halt. How long can the top 4 keep it clean for? This is very different racing, ladies and gentlemen. The way Formula V go about their business, they've got to be a little bit more smart about it. They've got to be a little bit more disciplined because they do not have their panels, their side panels, their doors to use to elbow, to rub shoulders with. Rubbings racing doesn't work here because your wheels get interlocked and you end up in all sorts of trouble. So you can still battle, but there is a limit as to how close you can get to the car in front of you or beside you through turn 1. Jonesy's having a real good crack. Braden Sagas is looking good for the double. Chris Noble has something to say about that. Sam Chapman's there as well. And what this is doing, excitingly, is inviting Ryan Tate and Lockie Purvis into the mix. So, obviously Sagassa, a win to his name already. Can he do the double and then come from 15th and do the treble? Adam Laver showing a lap down. Richard King as well. So the pit stops here do crucify him.
Or
if you end up having to get a tow, or if you end up with a mechanical meatball.
If Sagassa does get the double here, that would be a stark difference to last time we ran the Bs, where I can't even remember how many races we went before we had a repeat winner.
Yeah, exactly. Or even a round where a driver ran... Oh, no, trouble. Was that lap traffic? Greg Padgett, yes. Greg able to get out of the road, everybody able to take evasive action to avoid him. But that has provided a little bit of a divide at the front of the field. Here comes Jonesy, and here comes Chris Noble as well. 3 wide down the main straight. Noble with the run to the inside. Jonesy wants to go deep, needs to be mindful of the wall on the outside and just misses it. Jones is the new race leader in Mexico. Noble and Sagasta still side by side. Noble to the inside to go to second. And look at them all check up behind him. Chapman, Tate and Purvis as well. They are 6.5 seconds clear of Cooper Friend. Hello to you, Nathan Moroney. Good to have you tuning in, mate. Look forward to seeing you on track next week. Hopefully there's a few people watching this, Schmitty, thinking, geez, we need to get back amongst this. We need to sign up our membership or top it up or renew it, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
and hopefully a few more bums on seats next week.
Yeah, well, how often do you get a 6-car pack racing for the lead? This is great racing by everyone.
Oh, NASCAR, Talladega, Daytona. That's about it. Mate, that is genuinely about it. Round we go. 2 laps to go at the line. They won't get any more than that. I promise you. So take a breath and hold on. Here we go. Side by side down the main straight. Here goes Chris Noble. Ryan Jones to his inside. Sagasta wanting to get back up where he was a few moments ago, but he's too far back. Noble to the inside. Jonesy goes with it. Noble! Wow! Wow, wait. Lockie Purvis didn't get away unscathed. He's in the wall and done. Ryan Tate did escape, but he's dropped off the pack too far to be a factor now. Noble's dropped back to 4th. And that has really shaken things up. Chapo's there. Sagasta's around the outside of Jones. Side by side we go to the chicane. We're up and about now. Up out of the seat now for the last lap. Hello to Mrs. Maroney on that note. Whoa, Jones into the outside. Side by side with Sagasta, we've got a lap and a quarter to go. 3 wide. Chapman down the inside, is it? No, it's Tate. It is Chapo, it is Chapo. He's got a bit of green on that Vermilion entry for a change. Jones, Chapman, 1 to go at the line. Who's your pick, ladies and gentlemen? Hedge your bets. Because I guarantee you we're not game enough to place a bet at this point in time. You just don't know. Jonesy does lead it as the white flag flies. He may not lead it at the strike. He may not lead this thing when we get back here to see the checker. Chapman to the outside at 1. Wrong place to be. Jones defends on the inside. Goes too deep into the corner. They scrape in the grass. Noble's covering off Tate. Chapman to the inside, Noble to his outside, Noble to the lead briefly, and then loses out to Jones. Jones is defending for dear life on the last lap. Tate's there as well. Sagasta's lost contact with them, so we're not going to have a repeat winner here yet. In race 2, maybe race 3, because there'll be 2 contenders for that. Jonesy leads to the stadium section for the final time. Half a minute to go. Noble's there as well. What can Chapman do from 3rd? The old experienced hand of Formula B, is he about to be the perennial bridesmaid tonight? With 2 second place finishes. Jonesy deep to the left-hander. Noble trying to do the up and under. It didn't work just yet. Jones is there. Noble spinning around and it's done. Jonesy just needs to avoid looping it in a similar fashion, and it'll be victory for DPR Racing's Ryan Jones in the second heat. Oh, another one bites the dust. Victory goes begging for Chris Noble, and Jonesy emerges victorious and rises to the top of the summit in Heat 2 of Round 1 of Disruptive Labs Formula V. The AOWN expert in second. Sagasta, Tate, Noble, Friend, Adam Zamora, Weggett and Fitzgerald the top 10. Lockie Purvis recovers for 11th. Todd Saris, Nick Wood, Richard King and Adam Lavis. The 15. Greg Padgett in 16th. Edward Rollo, I should say, 17th. They will start at the back of the field, and it'll be old mate Adam Lavis, our mate here in Central Commentary, our broadcast guru and coordinator, that will lead the field to green in Heat 3 of Formula V on what is an enormous Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Oh, wowee. Chris Noble managed 5th in all of that. It could have been 2nd. It could easily have been 1st. But at least, Schmitty, it's not a DNF or an exclusion or anything else that would net 0 points, because this is one of those nights where all points count. You don't want to be scoring zeros. Unfortunately, Edward Rollo has, because he didn't finish 75% of the race, but everybody else is going to be classified.
Yep, and with the new point structure we've got this season, DNF is, you're worse off than you were before, because you get 15 points for a sprint round no matter where you finish now. Though that's
exactly right.
It's not applicable for this race specifically, because we've got less than 20 people taking the grid, but in a bigger field, if you DNF, you get zilch, and everyone else gets at least 15.
Yep, new point structure for this term, of course. So we used to only pay to 25th position. We now pay right through the field. It's not a participation trophy, as some would view it. It is more a case of reinventing the wheel without overhauling it dramatically. And of course, catering to the fact that we have had bigger fields in recent times in some classes, but we also wanted something that was streamlined across the board. We didn't want to go having different points matrix systems in place for different categories. That'd just make the task too difficult for some, Matt Schmidtke, I'd imagine.
Yeah, certainly put a bit more work on Adam or whoever does the results, making sure everything adds up with all the different points. So we've gone to one set of points. It's mostly the same, or the point separations between 1st and 20th are exactly the same, just higher numbers, and then it kind of tapers out down to 15th at, I believe it's around 30th position.
Indeed it is. There's the recap of the results for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure if you've got it handy there, Schmitty, but I want to remind everybody of what we're doing this term. We have one Australian circuit on this tour. We mentioned it last night with Sam Chapman. We have one Australian circuit. You've got to wait until week 10 for it. The back half of the schedule is really seriously enticing. This was a late change tonight. Mexico City replacing Barber Motorsport Park. It will now be in round 8 in the first week of June. So Alton Park next week, Summit Point the week after. Then that MIA loop, that Formula E configuration of the Miami International Autodrome. That'll be a beauty for these cars. Then a shortened configuration of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So the club circuit, I think it'll be. Then the Tsukuba circuit. It's been a while since we've been to Tsukuba on broadcast, let me tell you, with good reason too. Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix configuration in use there. Then on to Barber. Willow Springs, which is always a favourite for mine, Schmitty. We took GT4 racing there with some serious carnage and results a couple of terms ago. And also, of course, we've taken the Mazda MX-5s there and a couple of others. It is a seriously underrated racetrack. It'll be great for Formula V. I'll be drafting 4 wide, 5 wide down the main straight. And then to the Bend West, which really, I'm sorry, Yasser. I'm sorry, Sam. It's the only configuration I like of your bloody Mecca. Casa de Shahin over there, because it's the one that serves up the best quality entertainment from a racing standpoint. The rest of them might be easy and good to drive and whatever else, but from a pure door-to-door racing standpoint, the Bend West is where it's at, so we're there in week 10. There's the grid. Adam Lavis, Richard King, Nick Wood, Todd Saris, Lachlan Purvis, Derek Fitzgerald, Thorn Weggett, Eduardo Zamora, Michael Adams, Cooper Fred in the top 10. 1:05 in the afternoon, local server time, 3 km/h winds, 26 degrees the ambient, 57 on track and partly cloudy conditions, 45% humidity. We're away. Great start, Adam Lavis. Good start, Richard King. We do start past the start-finish line here at the Mexico City circuit. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Someone's throwing bait very early in the season, and that's trouble.
More trouble.
Quite a few drivers. It's.
You're facing the wrong way, Eduardo. You might want to watch out. He's making the corner. Oh no, there it goes.
Stuck. There they go. Todd Saris and Eduardo Zamora are gone. On a date, exit stage left. Davis. It's on the first day. What the hell was that? And what, I've never seen a Formula V be towed backwards like that for that length of time before. Welcome to Mexico City, everybody. We're bringing you the unknown, things you've never seen before on a Formula V racetrack tonight. How good. Sit down for the moment whilst things calm down out there on the racetrack. On the pit lane, on the tow rope. Gonzalez and Eduardo Zamora. Everybody else back to the main straight. Into the completion of the first lap. Adam Lavis leads us in Mexico. Can we just bring back the, I think the wind speed is still a northerly and still a light speed, so it's having little to no impact whatsoever.
Yeah, 3 kilometres per hour, due north.
So absolutely nothing going on there. Absolutely nothing. I'll get back to that pick and stick bait in just a moment. Oh, trouble gone! Bang into the wall! There goes Michael Adams!
He got a touch from, I'm not sure who it was a white car. Come and hit the tyres and then bounced into him. Very unfortunate.
It's not the first time either. Adams won't be able to drive that one away. Thornweggett's going to be lucky to be able to drive his back to the pit lane as well.
Oh, no, that's not what I want.
So...
Oh yeah, there was the contact. I'll try and get the earlier incident if I can.
So already we've had Ryan Tate on pit lane. Michael Adams on the tow rope. Todd Saras and Zamora on the tow rope after their little merry-go-round. Oh, jeez. How unlucky can you be? I agree with Jonathan Harris. It is a relatively small field tonight. What I don't know is, you know how we had Johnny Bannack join us for the last 2 Porsche rounds last term? Don't know where Johnny is, whether he's going to join us for expert comments tonight or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The Neil Crompton to the Lee Diffie, I don't know if we're going to renew that this term. It's great to have Johnny involved in an analytical stance here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Didn't get a chance to catch up with him after last night's race either. Jonathan, so I was hoping for 50 as well. That would have been a lot more fun at turn 1. Could you imagine? It would have been a car park.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, next 2 rounds are free tracks, so if you're worried about having to buy a track, Alton Park, Summer Point, 2 great tracks for these cars and both free.
Trouble on the inside, Nick Wood. He's parked and going nowhere. He gets out of there, but not before losing 2 spots. One to Chapman, one to Sagasa. Did we work out, by the way, if the same person that set up an 18-lap, 15-minute race set up an 18-lap... Yep, exactly. Thank you. We can go back to the time counter now. We know we're only going 15 minutes and 10 laps, folks. We saw that earlier. Adam Laver's still leading. He's got 4 seconds to the good on Richard King. That's not how you probably want to win races. Here, Richard King with a big moment. Through the inside goes Derek Fitzgerald. Here comes Lockie Purvis as well. King drops to 4th. Can they reel in 5 seconds on Adam Lavis? This looks like one of those circuits. You know how we talk about it all the time, Schmitty? Although I must give the honourable mention and refer to you as Schnitty at least once, Chicken Schnitty, because I was talking to our mate Sam Stride earlier in the day. And hello to him if he's tuning in. I told him I was getting ready to loosen up the vocals for Formula V tonight. Can you believe as well, when we look at this, when we talk about Formula V, as you well know, we always talk about the tracks where you can lead from the front and run on your own and not be reeled in. And there are some circuits where it's just not physically possible to do it because it's better for straight line speed, for overall uptime, for performance, for whatever else, to run in a battle pack. We've seen it at Phillip Island, we've seen it at Road America, other circuits as well. This strikes me as one of those circuits where they're going to struggle to reel Adam Lavis in because there aren't too many full throttle, wide open spaces. It's a bit more tight and technical. It's I'm just trying to think of the right circuit comparison. Mexico City to maybe a Zandvoort club or a Sebring club. It's one of those type circuits where leading from the front can be doable, And now that Adam Lavis has got 5 seconds to the good, I think only Adam can bring himself undone.
Yeah, I think it'll be hard for them, even if they do get into a nice draft pack, to pull in that 5 seconds. It doesn't seem to have budged much this lap. I think a couple tenths, but we'll have to wait and see a few more laps. In the previous race, that pack did manage to reel in the leaders, but that was a bit less of a gap to reel in, so we'll see how this one goes.
5.2 seconds to the good. Purvis to turn 1. Oh, jeez. Fitzgerald nearly ended up in the wall. Sacrifices, loses third spot. Richard King goes through. Braden Sagassa's trying to reel him in. Has the fastest lap of the race. 1:29.746. He knows the way to the front, Lockie Purvis. He says, follow me, boys. 1:29.746. Only driver in the 29s at the moment. So keep an eye on Purvis. Sorry, keep an eye on Sagassa, I should say. His teammate is at the front of this train. I'm getting my 1-9 entries mixed up. Apologies. So, but this is the point. If Sagassa can get through here, Lockie Purvis can push him along and maybe benefit from the experience of Braden Sagassa in the process.
Yep, I think that might be the play for them. If the two 1-9 cars can get together, they will presumably be in talks with each other and can work together to get to the front. I'm not sure this pack, as they are working well together.
No, particularly Fitzgerald and King. So Fitzgerald's just got by King and Sagassa's just got by King. Now, Sagassa needs to make light work of Derek Fitzgerald here and get through. Round they go, onto the main straight. Another lap in the books. We'll go around the grounds for you very shortly. I'm not in the usual man cave tonight, so I don't have my usual assets at my disposal, the TV screen on the right-hand side, etc., etc. I will fix that up for the next trip to Cessnock, don't worry. I'm in the middle of helping Mum and Dad upgrade to the NBN fibre to the premises, which will enable me to have more than one device running at one time. From an internet standpoint, mid-broadcast, that was a beautiful piece of driving from Braden Sagassa, exactly what he needed to do. Gets by Derek Fitzgerald, now goes out in pursuit of Lockie Purvis, his teammate. Purvis has put 1.6 seconds between himself and Sagassa right now. That's how tricky it has been to overtake around this circuit. The rest of the field spread out. Edward Rollo, Eduardo Zamora on pit road. Michael Adams, Chris Noble have been to pit road, and Todd Saris as well. I didn't see exactly what happened to Chris Noble. Whether he got... No, his incident has been totally separate to Saris and Adams, because we saw Adams have that incident with Thorn Weggett on lap 2. Uh-oh, Chris Noble. Oh, dear. Oh, wow.
Wow.
He's hit an invisible jump in the middle of the circuit. Can we go and have a look at that again?
Let's have a look from his onboard.
That's Road Atlanta and the TCR all over again.
Where are we?
What the hell? On his lid and on the tow rope, and Noble's out of contention. So the old experienced standard Formula V is just not going to be picking up a W tonight. That's unfortunate. Richard King. Let's have a look from... This is Noble. Watch this.
I think...
Doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, some very poor netcode off of Chapo there when he bumped the wall.
Netcode. Oh. Wow-wee. That's netcode if I've ever seen it. That is the worst netcode I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, especially for us, where we're all connected, or almost all of us are connected to an Australian server from Australia. That was some pretty big netcode there.
That was half a car width. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's...
What the hell?
That's like in the Sebring 12 hour where we were going well and there was an Australian team at us, and because it was a US server there was about that much netcode, but that makes a bit more sense with the travel time.
True. Although that being said, if this was summer, I'd be arguing that Queensland's just not, if it was a Queensland, New South Wales issue, I'd be blaming the time lapse of 112 years in 1 hour. So can't do that at the moment. So I've got to go back to the joke drawboard. I've got to think of new material for the next 6 months. It's the gift that keeps on giving, though, when we get to October. Don't worry about that. Richard King in 5th spot. So that's why throwing this race wide open, because obviously Chapo's in 6th spot, not factoring in the equation. He's 10 seconds off the pace. Richard King got there at Fitzgerald for company. Lockie Purvis is still holding off Braden Sagassa to the tune of 1.8. The margin to Adam Lavis is down to 4 seconds from 5. They've run out of time. There's only 3 laps to go. They're not going to be able to reel him in. 1:29.4 for Sagassa, now the fastest lap of the race, and 1:29.5 or Purvis Lavis has got into the 29.9s, but last time round was a 30.3.
Yeah.
But still doing enough to hold on.
I think
3
maybe
different winners on the opening night. I'm all for it, Matt.
Yeah, I think maybe 1 or 2 more laps and they might have had the pace, but just the amount they're gaining on Adam just isn't quite enough with the amount of time we've got left.
Not at all. The final few laps here, ladies and gentlemen. What's been a very tame opening night by Formula V standards. I'm a little bit disappointed, actually. I'm not going to lie. I thought the Strepsils were going to be required tonight. Probably not at this rate. Although what our Porsche field ends up looking like may be a determining factor. We are expecting some electric red-hot Porsche racing tonight.
Yeah, well, hopefully with the compression back down to 2 splits, we should have some pretty big fields. Start of the season, only 2 splits. I'm hoping 30 or 40 cars in each split, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
First time they've been to this circuit as well, Schmitty. We've taken GT3 here, but not the Porsche Cup. So it'll be interesting to see what they bring to the table.
Yep, I think we've had supercars here as well, but yeah, no Porsche Cup.
Now, at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, with the view to tomorrow night, Adam Lavis asked me earlier in the day, did Yeaman say anything about his availability for tomorrow night? I said, no, and I did mention it, not so subtly in the broadcast last night, that whether or not we had a Friday night broadcast would be dependent upon whether we had an available director and producer or not. I was available. I'm on the Cessnock tomorrow night, but if we're not doing the broadcast, I'll go and watch the footage. As a result of that, don't expect a broadcast tomorrow night live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time unless things change drastically and quickly, and we'll advise you if they do. In the meantime, Edward Rollo's still on pit lane. Eduardo Zamora's parked up for the night. Michael Adams is a lap down, so too is Todd Saris. Greg Padgett is about to go a lap down.
Adam's not in the lead anymore. Adams had an incident. We've missed.
Adams had an incident. The one thing that we thought might happen would be that Adam brings himself undone. How's he done it, please?
Let's have a look here.
Oh no, come on, Adam. The one night where he had a win.
Oh,
no.
Traffic, no.
Flat traffic in a parked car. Who was that? Was that Todd Saris?
Not
He was a lap down.
sure,
He is still a
yeah.
lap down. Might have been Saris. Can you believe that? So Adam Lavis now has to try and track down and chase down Lockie Purvis. Half a second the margin and the white flag in the air. What the hell? Oh, that's wretchedly unlucky for Adam Lavis. Talk about snatching defeats from the jaws of victory. Oh, into the wall, big one!
Sagasa.
Sagasa's gone! Massive shunt in at turn 1!
I think he might have picked up another car as well.
Derek Fitzgerald's the other one. And Ryan Jones comes through and cleans up the pieces and moves up into 6th. Nick Wood to 5th and Sam Chapman to 4th. Jonesy now goes to 5th because Nick Wood's fallen down to 7th and Derek Fitzgerald's got up into 6th. All happening, all hell has broken loose on the final lap. Todd Saris now finds himself on the tow rope on pit lane. Zamora and Friend are both out. Friend didn't even start this race. We only started with 16. Zamora out. Rollo may as well be. He's not going to be classified. You have to finish 8 laps in a 10-lap race because that's beyond the 75% threshold. Lockie Purvis. It didn't look like he was anywhere near catching Adam Lavis, and then all of a sudden, Lavis gets extremely balked by lap traffic, parked lap traffic on the racing line. Adam would know where to go. He arrived on the corner blind, and as a result of that, Lockie Purvis, it might be a hollow victory in some people's eyes, but certainly not for Lockie Purvis. He's a winner in Disruptive Labs Formula V on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. 3 races, 3 different winners. Opening round of the season is done. Lavis in for 2nd, Richard King on the podium in 3rd, then Sam Chapman, Ryan Jones. Derek Fitzgerald's going to limp home in 6th spot ahead of Nick Wood. They are all limping to the line at this point. They're struggling. What on earth has gone on here? We need to go back and have a look at that. I think it was Todd Saris. This was what happened to Braden Sagasa. So watch this. Stay with it. He's in there, turn one. Uh-oh. And he obviously couldn't pull the car up in time. And when he did, Derek Fitzgerald was right there to go. Crunch. What the hell? Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? That was Todd Saris. He clipped the wall, I think, on the way through there.
Oh, and then he's...
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
And that would really bring into question a possible unsafe rejoin.
Yeah.
I know there's absolutely nothing either one of them could have done about that, and it's not as though contact was made. It was the impediment of the lead car that I would question.
Yeah, I think something might be done about that in a race control situation, because if he had just held steady, Adam would have been able to squeak through in the middle there.
Yeah, absolutely. Not ideal, not fair on Adam Lavis, who had a shocker of an opening 2 races, let's be perfectly honest, to end up in that position in the first place. And then was going out in pursuit of, you know, salvaging something out of the night. He still ends up with a podium, but it could have been so much better than that. Let's have a look at some of the other incidents. This was Ryan Tate earlier in the piece. This was when the bottleneck happened. Yeah. And for what it's worth, I still think Nick Wood takes the incident of the night. Although that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Poor old Eduardo Zamora getting dragged along the wrong way. In fact, we should try and get some onboard of Eduardo just to see if he was trying to get out of the problem or whether he was having to be towed along. Let's have a look. There he goes, right? Actually, no, it just feels like he's reversing at this particular point.
Yeah.
And that's what it sounds like as well. Oh, dear. Never a dull moment in Formula V. All right, well, nobody jumping in to have a chat with us, and the reason for that, well, I stand corrected. Braden Sagassa is here. Braden Sagassa is in the house. Hopefully his teammate. Yes, Lockie Purvis is on his way in as well. There we go. We've got the 219 boys in the house ready to have a chat with us. We'll get to Lockie in just a moment, boys. We've got to make this nice, short, sharp and sweet. We've got to be out of here at 8:30 because we've got a baton change to do. Andrew Neal's taking the reins, taking the baton from Matt Schmidt in the producer and director's chair to bring us our coverage of the Porsche Cup. Hopefully Schmidt can get out there and line up on the grid. That was fun. You both nabbed a race win tonight, but Braden, let's be perfectly honest, that third race could have gone a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I just made a rookie mistake. I was trying to be a bit of a rear gunner for Lockie in that last one there, but I just ran out of talent, and yeah, it's so easy to hit that ball. I don't know how many times I've hit that ball in practice.
Formula E use this circuit. Would you like to see Formula V on it again, or do you reckon we could go with one of the 16 other configurations we've got here?
I prefer what is it's pretty horrendous, especially in the Formula Vs. But yeah, it's just good to get a good result for the 119.
Were you surprised by the lack of numbers on the grid tonight?
No, not really, especially for this track configuration. I think next week will be booming, especially for Alton Park.
You've seen the schedule, no doubt. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I like it. I think this was the only iffy track for me, but every other track, I think we're going to have big numbers for the rest of the season.
Great to see your teammate get a win, and great to keep Chris Noble winless tonight. It's rare that happens when the Formula V champ's in town.
Yeah, well, we pray and hope we can do that for the rest of the season, but Chris Noble's got a lot of talent, and he's only meant a few wins this season.
Who else have you got to be mindful of? I mean, you guys did a beautiful job as a duo when you were working together, but who else have you got to be mindful of?
Adam Maverick, I think he got very unlucky that last race, and Chapo Who else?
Chabbo wasn't a fan of the configuration either.
Yeah, I think many people will have the same opinion on that one.
Although you three should all actually be fans of it, considering you've nabbed the W tonight.
I think that was just staying out of drama for most of it.
Just luck, eh? All right, mate. As I say, we're on a bit of a time frame here because we've got the Porsche standing by and we've got to get out of here so that we can get into the other broadcast server. What's on the agenda for you for the rest of the week, please? And what are your thoughts on Alton Park?
Nothing for the rest of the week, but Alton Park will be a lot of fun, and I'll be back in the Formula 3s on Monday night.
And that's the thing about Alton Park as well, isn't it? I mean, we look forward to seeing you on Monday night in the 3s, and that was a great start of the campaign for you there as well. But when we look at the Vs at Alton Park, you look at it for some of the other classes, some of the bigger cars, and you think, oh, God, bit of a tight, narrow sort of dungeon. But for Formula V, it's the perfect sort of racetrack, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. It's a lot of fun as well, and there'll be some tight battling. And, I can't wait for it.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Get out of here, go and enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you when we get to Alton Park next Thursday, and, of course, before that, the Formula 3 sprint round on Monday.
10-4. Thank you, Zach.
From him, Jonesy arrived last, so he can go last. To you, Lockie Purvis, mate, well done. Kind of got lucky there in the end, really, because Adam Lavis was that far up the road, it wasn't funny. And unfortunately, he's just been balked and obstructed by an unfortunate stranded car, much like Nick Wood in that frame just there on screen on the replay. But you've got to take your opportunities when they're presented to you, and you've been able to clean up the pieces on the way through. The result is a beneficiary of victory, and you go with Lockie Purvis away from, with Braden Sagasser away from here with a very good haul of championship points, mate. Your thoughts on the night?
Yeah, look, it was pretty rough to begin with, I'm not going to lie, but I got very lucky at the end there. Sucks for Adam, but I'll take it when I can.
Exactly, not the way you want to win them, but again, you've got to take them because we anticipate this will be a very hard-fought and close championship battle all the way to the very end.
Yeah, man, a lot of people have been putting in work, so it's going to be a good battle for sure.
There are the results from the sprint feature. I don't think we've actually shown them to you yet, folks. 1.9 the margin. Purvis to Lavis in the end. A bit flattering in the end, actually, quite frankly. A bit unlucky for Adam, but he'll bounce back from that. Richard King, Sam Chapman. Again, very rare you don't see Chapman on a Formula V podium. Ryan Jones in for another top 5 finish tonight. Derek Fitzgerald, Nick Wood, Weggett. I'm stumbling over a couple of names tonight. Ryan Tate and Chris Noble, the top 10. Very nicely done. Your thoughts on the Vs, mate? I mean, I'm obviously thrilled that they're back on the server, but from a personal standpoint, a driver's standpoint, I guess that a lot of it comes down to track configuration and layout on the night, and there's not a lot of love for this one here in Mexico City, but that's good to know for future reference. But from your standpoint, good to have the Vs back?
Oh, mate, I've been absolutely frothing for this. Like, I kid you not, I've been waiting for this forever. So, yeah, I love these. I love how they race. I love the racecraft. Yeah, tonight was not the best combo, but it's still a lot of fun. I reckon we'll have some close racing towards the end.
Are we getting some sort of foreign language in here from Minnie Myers Jr. at the moment? Or are we just getting gibberish because they're replacing swear words that can't be used on air? I'm not sure what's going on there at the moment. We've got Andrew Neal standing by to take over from Matty Schmidtke in just a tick. But before that, let's finish our post-race show here with Formula V. Lockie, are we going to see you for all 10 rounds of the season, or is there going to be something interfering with your ability to do so?
I'll be here for the rest of it. I'll also be doing F3 and 86s, so you'll see me there.
How was the 86 for you last night, mate? I mean, that looked a bit slip and slidey out there and a bit wet.
Yeah, I had the 1 lap pace. I didn't have the racecraft, so it was a bit rough, but mate, that was a lot of fun.
It certainly was indeed. Hey, very quickly, obviously, to get a W first up, that's magnificent. Well done. What are your thoughts on turning that into a weekly, regular, consistent result, maybe a championship result in 9 weeks' time. Obviously, your teammate's going to be hard to race toe-to-toe with. Chris Noble will bounce back. Sam Chapman, Adam Lavis, Ryan Jones is a contender. There's so many different variables at stake here. But what are your thoughts on the calendar and your chances over 10 rounds?
Yeah, look, I've done a lot of improvements since the last season. So, yeah, me and Braden are working hard. We'll see how it goes, but I feel like we've got a chance. The boys, Adam, Chapo, man, they're fast, but we'll put on a good battle.
All right, indeed they are. Well done, mate. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, just the 19 boys, Braden in particular. Yeah, thanks, boys.
Let's have a better chat on Monday night after the threes, mate. Go well.
Cheers, mate.
Again, running tight for time because there is a little bit of a tech situation that we just can't work around, ladies and gentlemen. We have to log off, reload, switch directors and producers. That requires a baton change. We need to give that a little bit of leverage. You will need to switch over to a new YouTube server to continue watching Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. I feel like I'm doing a Mark Beretta when Seven used to shuffle you off to another channel during the supercars. Ryan Jones, you'd know what that's all about. Good evening. Well done on the win in race 2. Well done on the top 5 in race 3. Thoughts on all of that?
Oh, I thought I was going to be 10th all night after qualifying. So I think I said in the chat that was the greatest miracle since Moses, that race 2 win. I don't really know how that happened, but it was a lot of fun. The rest of the night, not so much.
I thought for a moment there you were going to slide a Bradbury reference in there, quite frankly, but no, we will save that for another day. Obviously, not lost on anybody how technical a circuit that is. Might work for Formula V and has done in the past, but maybe not the best cup of tea for Formula V first cab off the rank.
Yeah, well, I mean, I rolled out in practice, and on my out lap, I took a wrong turn. Didn't realise this, and spent about 2 minutes on the wrong circuit before I realised I was the wrong way. So, yeah, that set the time for my night. I then spent the rest of practice learning how to drive the car. I didn't figure that out until race 1. I didn't figure the track out till race 2. So yeah, it was tricky track off the bat and tricky car, as it turns out. I never driven it before, so yeah, hopefully we'll get some more numbers up. The racing, as you saw, was pretty cool when everyone kept their head, but there was a little bit of silly stuff in that last one. But other than that, it was interesting.
I want to know your thoughts on 2 things with regards to the Vs tonight before we focus on other things. Firstly, your thoughts on being able to beat Chris Noble in his own game and fend him off on the final lap. Obviously, he's had a spin there whilst trying to reel you in. And secondly, turn 1 tripped you up once or twice.
Just once. Yeah, I deleted myself on race 1. That was pretty good. It gave me a P3 start for the second race, though, so that worked out quite nicely. Yeah, Chris, I take it, is pretty good in these cars. I wasn't really sure who'd be fast tonight. I just noted that in qualifying, me and Chapo both struggled, and I was happy with that because it wasn't just me. But he had a bit more pace than me over the course of the night. Yeah, it was just cool to get up there. I thought I was going to fall down the order pretty quickly in that second race because my pace was pretty poor in the first one, but I think a bit of hurry up from those guys, maybe pushing the brake markers a bit deeper, and I figured it out on the fly.
And before I let you go, again, we are short for time. Are you jumping in the Porsches? And if not, what does the rest of your racing week look like, knowing full well that next week you've got a Porsche Pro Invitational round to focus on?
Not going to jump in the Porsches. Was umming and ahhing about it, and in the end, it looks like the split between Elite and Open is still too many in the Open split rather than Elite. So, not keen on a 40-minute race there. I will probably jump in when there's heat racing later in the season if I'm home. But
good.
Yeah, whatever we're doing on Monday, I'll be there. And then Wednesday is Porsche, which I shall probably practice for at some point on Tuesday.
Yes, from the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. So good luck with that. Obviously, the Algarve on Monday night for Formula 3 and GT3 to follow that as well. Very nice to see in victory lane, and noted just the sly way in which you slid first time in the car, learning the car, etc., into the conversation. Well done. um, Bodes well for the rest of the season. Look forward to seeing you for the rest of the sprint racing, mate. You will have to get used to racing around the full Grand Prix layout, though, for a V8 Pro round later in the season here in Mexico City. So good luck with that. Anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, just shout out all the boys in race 2 racing at the front. It was really clean. We all gave each other respect and room, which was really cool, especially how easy it is to interlock wheels in these things. You guys put on the broadcast, High Performance Media, Lampy Transport staff, and all the boys at DPR for putting on a good show, and the big DPR dock set up on the fixed baseline tonight.
He's done a magnificent job. Ryan Jones, thank you. Appreciate that. Matt Schmidtke, you've done a magnificent job as well, mate. Good to have you back in the producer and broadcast director booth there. Look forward to sharing the booth with you in the entree or the main course, depending upon what you want to call it. Main course into dessert sounds like a nice, comfy fit for me for the balance of the Formula V season, mate. That was fun tonight.
Yep, it certainly was. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Go and jump in a Porsche, mate. If not, crack over to Coldie and enjoy it from the comfort of the lounge. There he is, Matt Schmidtke. A break on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, by which I mean clean cut. This broadcast ends, a new one starts. Go and find the link for the Porsche Cup part of our evening on our YouTube channel right now. And of course, you'll be notified when we go live on Facebook in a few minutes' time. Baton change. Schmidtke out, Neil in. Thursday night motorsport on the platforms. The Gentleman Sim Racing Club continues on the other side. It'll be the Porsche Cup from Mexico City on the back of a triple treat of Formula V racing, in which, yep, the circuit proved challenging, but we still got what we wanted. 3 different winners in as many races. And Chris Noble with a bit of work to do. So too, Sam Chapman. So the Formula V field is an open playing field at the moment. We wouldn't have it any other way. See you for more of that next week and for the Porsches in just a few moments' time.